Oof, we are back at it again. So look, this is an update. I'm not gonna go through everything I went through in the past videos. I made a couple things and added them to the dashboard that I feel like are super integral. And we're just shipping it off now. So if you're seeing this, it might be out already. It might not be. I don't know. We'll see. But let me run you through this real quick so you can see. So part of the challenge here, so I scroll up to the top, you can see this is the updated Flow State OS Lite dashboard. So you can see from top to bottom, you got your menu, you got your themes, projects, navigations, tasks, resources, everything trickles down, your habits, calendar, plan everything out. Everything trickles down. But in this, I was going in with the idea earlier this morning, and I was looking at my covers, and I was like, man, you know what? Like, it's always been like a secret love of mine to be able to have an apothecary, and to be able to see if I could infuse that in the dashboard, so that way I can have some tools that help me also keep up with things in real life. But also have that digital backbone for things that I'm using that I can't do necessarily or can't keep up or organize in the same way. So I was like, can you do that with Notion? Can you make an apothecary in Notion? And how would that look? So I experimented around with it, along with another thing, which will be the jobs, and I'll show you in a little bit. But I want to show you the apothecary first, just because I feel like it's so integral. I'm a very big proponent of just staying healthy, and also being able to be self sufficient and understanding that the earth provides, and knowing that the journey is something that is not always going to be, it's not going to be done for you. You're going to have to be the one who's going to have to walk it. And I feel like naturally, as you start to acquire things in your life and you build up your apothecary, whether that just be like a little small thing at home, or you start growing some things, um, it's definitely, it gets you more in touch, it gets you more grounded. So look, that's what this is for, to help inspire that in that process. So check it out. This is the Apothecary OS. Maybe I could have came up with a catchier name. It is what it is right now. But as you dip in, you can see you got your main navigation that's like normal. But over here, you can see at the top, there's a little mini guide. Like I always try to do, to make sure that way you ain't never lost out in the water. Um, Go ahead. We'll close that for now. You got your goals, so you can set specific goals. Now these could be specific like health goals. So you can see over here, actually made just like a little, just an example. Ooh, hold on. I got a sneeze coming. I got to sneeze. All right. So look, we got. Okay, my bad, my bad. But yeah, we got different health goals that you can mess around with, tweak to your liking. As you can see, we got the description here. So underneath the description, you can actually put your progress. So when you click on the goal, say you have a current and you got a target number, because you want to make sure all your goals are measurable. It's part of what makes a good goal, and you can put your start and your end date here. But say, I'm not sure exactly what we're measuring this in right now, but let's say our target is 200. We got a current of 20. You can see the progress will also show there. So that's how the goals work. I feel like coming into the apothecary, it makes sense to be able to just like, first off, review your goals. Like, what do you actually want to achieve? What is the thing that we're setting in motion here? What's the intention? So go ahead, dial in your intentions. And if you want, you can close that. Otherwise, you can keep it open. I like to sometimes have the pictures just for a visual motivation, like a visual mantra of the goals. But, if you want to clean it up, go ahead, just do like that. Everything is collapsible. So you got your main menu up here. So same thing as the home page, just different color. Underneath here, we got the master apothecary. So this is like, the top down view. This is like, you're looking in, you want it all, take it all in. This is, we just got like a simple list. I didn't want to overcrowd it with too many things right off the bat, because sometimes you want to go in, you want to keep your space clear, keep your mind clear. But when it's time to get serious, this is where we start to move to the right here. So we can dip into inventory over here, and you can see there's a range of different properties that we can actually edit, and we can get, real masterful with it in our calculations, and being able to see, how much everything costs, where to get it, different, you can see body systems, contraindications. So this is like if you're really going in, maybe you're doing this professionally, maybe you're coaching, maybe you're helping somebody else out with it, or maybe you just want to have like a real strong setup and foundation, for your home life, and maybe your family and different people. So as you can see, hold on here, if you look, I did try to put some descriptions underneath the different views. So if you ever at any point in time get confused and you're like, hey, I want to know what this do, go ahead, just go to the view and then look underneath. And so if you go to gallery here, you can actually, see. So if you wanted to take pictures, say like, um, I got my phone over here. You want to take some pictures of your collection of what you got. Go ahead and do that, and you can make that actually the cover of these different ones here. So when you come back, you're looking at exactly, like it's not some just like generated picture or something you found. It could actually be your collection, and it gives you a little bit more of a personal connection to it, which is important. I feel like when you're connecting with, connecting with the earth in different ways, it's good to just be able to bridge that. So, and if you go here, you can also see you got a reorder list. So this is for things that you need to reorder. If, for instance, like you ran out and you're like, okay, we need to put this on the radar, just like your groceries and everything. We got to have some system for that. So that's what this is. But before I get too carried away in just this one area, because there's a lot here, as you can see, you can flip through the body systems. And like I said, I got pictures for these ones. I don't have pictures for every single one, but for a few of them. And you can see even by use case. But before we get too deep into that, I want to actually show you like the safety check here. You can see contraindications, different interactions. But I want to show you the rest of the page. All right, I'm over here interrupting myself. Let's go, let's go, let's go. So I feel like, man, when I step into, I think about what would I be doing in my home kitchen, even though this is a digital workspace, it is what it is. This is also to help inspire the actions that you would take in your real life. So, if I'm in my kitchen, I'm gonna be listening to some music, I'm gonna be vibing, I'm gonna be setting the mood, of course. So that's why I got the playlist here. That way you can edit this. This is my cooling and vibing playlist. So this is all the music that I love. I've been collecting over time. Some of them are actually artists I've met and people I've spoke to and worked with in different capacity, but also just things that I love. I'm a fan. I'm a fan first. So this playlist, I hope it brings you some joy. I stuck it in here, but you can change that to be whatever your mood is, to get in the zone for, working with the plants, working with the plant teachers, just being able, it's such a blessing to be able to just learn from them in that way. But if you get into your flow, because look, plants like music too. You can be singing to them. You can be just infusing your energetic into the space. I'm not gonna go on a super big rant, but that is a big part of it. The energy that you bring. So you also want to bring that up in yourself. Raise your vibration. So that way you have that green thumb. That way you can work with these things, and your the seeds that you plant are growing. That is the point here. But from here, you can see off to the side, we got the seasonal kits. And so this is something I was thinking about, because I was like, all right, look, it's one thing to have a whole bunch of herbs, but I really want to, I'm a curator. Like I gotta have my like set for XYZ, my set for ABC, it's gotta be a certain way. And often situations will come up, like winter is coming up, and we gotta have like our combinations. Some of this stuff, it could be floating around in our heads, but like it's good to have things written down, because a lot of times, like I was seeing a quote the other day, and it was saying like you are what you do consistently. And if you don't schedule it, a lot of times it doesn't get done. So this is to mitigate that, and to be able to give us a way to just interact with this different sacred geometry for our way of thinking and being. So in this, you can kind of plan ahead. So if you want to plan like your cold and flu kit, or you got your allergy season kit, or you got your sleep support over here, and these are some suggestions and things that I have found over time that are very helpful. Me being a bioenergetic practitioner, actually, for maybe like 3-4 years now. I don't always voice it, especially on this channel, just because we keep things about nourishment, we keep things about the workflow, and things like that. But also learning to work with the body is very important. This is you are going on the hero's journey, and you will go through that whole cycle. I would pull up the picture if I had it right now. But think about where you are on your cycle. Think about where you are in pertaining to the things that you need. What would enrich you, enrich your spirit, and go ahead and make a kit for that. Make different things so you can plan out some of these stints. And as you start to do that, now I'm gonna scroll past all this real quick because it's yeah. We're gonna go to the daily health log because at times you might actually just need to keep track of some things like a sprint, just things that, like, okay, look, I'm trying to, say you want to get into lucid dreaming, right? um, low pressure, you just want to go to the astral realm a little bit, just into the fifth dimension just a little bit, you just want to just like start to build your like ascension diamond body just a little bit, right? So like or maybe you're trying to work on your liver, or maybe you're trying to work on your sleep, certain things like that. So this is a daily health log, so that way you can be able to jot your ideas and keep track of what's working, what's not. And as you're doing that, it's also going to be linked to the apothecary, just because naturally the two go hand in hand. So as you do that, you can plot that on the calendar, different entries and things. So feel free to play around with that. You can also see here, this is for your energy levels, so you can also see your energy levels over time if you want to track that. But that's entirely up to you and what you feel like you need at the moment. So what did I showed you? Let's, I'm forgetting what I went over already. You got your herbs over here. These things up here. Underneath, you also do have your resources. So if you're using this and you're using this in the Flow State OS Light dashboard specifically, then you would have your resources down here, because a lot of times we'll be capturing different ideas, links, PDFs, all kinds of stuff from friends, and we need to keep that somewhere in one place. So this is a database specifically for that, called resources. So I like to just tuck it in there. That way, if you need it, it's there. If you don't need it, it's gone. It's out the way. But if you do, you come into your apothecary and you're like, hey, you know what? I need to see my guide on XYZ, my herb guide. You could just go ahead and pull that up and then use it in whatever fashion that you would need to use it, and then it just collapse it. So underneath here, we're gonna keep going. Underneath here, because we're really trying to hit this from like a master top down command center type of view, right? We have a couple of different charts. So once you got a lot of stuff to keep track of, maybe you got inventory, maybe you're like pushing out some and you're making drinks, maybe you're out here with the smoothie business, running it up 10K a month. Yeah, I don't know, but help the community, give back. But if you want to keep track of what your actual supply is, this will actually be very helpful. That way you can see like your expirations, how effective things are, body systems. But you can also see, as you change these. So on the left here, you have a certain chart, and on the right, this is actually the same chart, but they're different views. So you can flip views. So if you want to cross compare, and you can triangulate, I don't know. I'm saying stuff weird. It's probably because I gotta get some water, man. Gotta get some water doing these videos. Sometimes I do them in one take. This is not even scripted. We're just going off the dome. Um, but yeah, so we got our charts over here. You can cross compare them. And if you scroll down, actually, you can see the supply map. So a lot of times there's gonna come times where you need to be able to know where your stuff is coming from, especially now with like all kind of weird stuff going on sometimes with the farms, and different supply lines. Like it's definitely important to just keep track of things, know where you can get stuff, know where your stuff is coming from, or grow it yourself if you can grow it yourself. Um, Everybody got different situations, so I don't want to like just put like a one size fits all type of thing. And I also say this from a perspective of I used to work in a co-op like way a while ago, right? I used to work in this co-op, and the first 30 hours of the training, they actually shipped us like they like brought us to like on a little bus to a special school that was like a health college type of thing where they went and they had us understand the nutrition facts. Like it was all nutrition facts like central, right? And they were breaking down the new different nutrition facts. And for the first thirty hours of my training, it was just like they were telling me this is why we don't have these ingredients and the things that are in the store, and this is why we have things that have these ingredients, because certain stuff will be linked to different diseases and whatnot. And it was showing us like the exact disease and whatnot side by side. You can see the condition. You be like, okay, I ain't never touching red 40 again, never touching yellow 50 and 65 and all these crazy. I mean, like it definitely makes you think about just what you put in your body a lot different. You may not notice it today or tomorrow, but like a year from now, 2 years from now, you definitely want to be taking care of yourself. Love yourself, speak life. That is what this is for. So keep track of your supply line. I guess that's a long-winded way of saying that, but also just being able to use this and maximize it to work for you, to customize it to what you feel like you need at the moment. So yeah, we went over the daily health log a little bit. If you want to go into the actual list view, you can see there's different views, so you can work with this in different ways. And this is actually, I was about to just clean in the video and forget about this. The energetic alignment. So over time, as you make these entries, so you can see over here, I'm gonna just click on that, and then in here, so if this was, you know, our regular page, but if you uncollapse it, you can go into the energy balance and click that, and you can make this whatever you want. So if you feel like the energy balance, after doing XYZ routine or taking XYZ thing, if you feel like your energy balance, overall for the day, like it brought you up to like a 90, go ahead and put 90 in there. It's almost like 100. 100% would be 100% balance, and 90 be 90. So that's pretty much how that works. But if you flip over to this view, it'll actually start to show you over time, your energy alignment of where you feel like you've been in balance and when you might have fallen off. So you can go back and look at that, and it's very useful, just to be able to track it and see over time whether things are working, or maybe you might want to pivot. You might want to do something different. So that is a guide here. You can have your goals out, the guide. Let me see. It's a quick look in the mood board. Just if you're putting together your own kits, you want to have like a mood board or wish list, goals, current focus, that type of thing. You know what I mean? I love to just have like the visual aesthetic. It's definitely important, but doing the work is a lot more important. So don't just intellectualize it. Don't just put things here and then not actually do the thing. That's why we want to always keep that in mind. This is only just like a way to just keep us consistent, which is good here. So if you want to flip from this room from the apothecary, most likely, I would think that you might want to go to like the meditation room, the fitness dashboard, or your journals or something, or you could head back home. But you can change these buttons if you want, and you can customize it to be what you need. So if you feel like you find yourself being on this page, you go do a little, whatnot, whoop de whoop, and then you come back and you're like, okay, I gotta flip over somewhere else. You can just easily do that. So what we're gonna do is we're actually just gonna easily do that, and we're gonna go to Flow State OS. Now, there's something else in here I did not show you yet, and it is actually, I was kind of debating whether or not I was gonna do this or not, because this is already set up for you to be able to have a business. So if you want to have your business, you want to plot business ideas, have products, services, and things like that. The dashboard is actually set up with that stuff built in. Just because I'm already doing it, so I'm not gonna build something and give it to you if like it's gonna be like half-assed, or we don't, it's not something up to par of what I'm actually feel like I can use, So just so you know where I'm coming from when I'm building these things, this is not me trying to like drip feed you. Like I'm trying to get you to a level where it's just no barriers, no limits, but also use that in the right ways. But before I get on a tangent here, I just want to show you the jobs and cash flow, because you know we can think about all of these beautiful things, the herbs, and we can frolic and whatnot in the fields. But when we gotta get real, sometimes we gotta just have like that cut and dry meat and potatoes job and cash flow. So this is for, maybe you don't have a business, maybe you just have a job right now and you're working on building different things on the side. So you got all these different, dashboards and modules and all this fancy stuff, but also just keeping track of, the daily. So this is for hourly work. So if you this is like an advanced hourly calculator. You need to track your hours every time you go in. Go ahead and make an entry. That way you got for your records, you know exactly what's going on. So for instance, like the boss or somebody else gets it kind of like mixed up, and you got to go and check back and be like, you know what, actually, you know. So this is for you for your home system, and you can see also it's sorted by job. You can do it on the calendar. So like, like, hey, I work today, or I work tomorrow, or I worked, sometime in the future, or I worked, in like 2,000 years. There was a time at Quantum Leap where I worked and I actually made a tunnel back here. No, I'm just playing. So you can, let's see, we have your status, things that are unpaid if you need to check on that, which is, you want to check on that. Billable and non-billable work. So these are just different ways you can visualize it. We could go on and on right here. You see, you got your goals too. Same deal. Financial tracker. If you need to just dip into, now this is gonna be available on the if you have the actual flow state, like dashboard. So you'll want to have that to be able to have some of this stuff up top here, because this is all integrated in. But a financial tracker will be here, and that'll all be tied in. So you can track your jobs and opportunities here. So if you're like, okay, look, you might sit down, do some research. You got like, okay, it's like 20 different roles that you're looking at. You want to put that down somewhere, in a way where it's like, okay, this is not scattered against, like, okay, this is a note that I'm gonna have to look back for, and I don't know where it is, and it's gonna be, buried under a million different things. So we want to keep it all organized, and that's what this here is for. So you can literally just, if you're interested in it, say you're interested in it, put the position, the client. You could put different details about it. Or if you, let's say, actually, what? I'm in the wrong view for that. I'm in the wrong view. There's a whole view specifically for applying. So that's this view right here with the stuff that actually makes sense. You don't need to see all the other stuff. You only need to see this right now. This is the only thing that matters. So once you actually get the job, then you can go change the job status right here, and you can change it to like, say like, okay, you applied, so now you can also sort it by like, these are the ones. I'll show you. I'll show you. So new job right here. We got one that we applied to, one that we're just interested in. So as soon as you split it up like that, you'll see, boom, interested, applied, and you can collapse them. So if you got like 20, if this is like 20 deep in the applied, or like 20 deep in the interested, you don't want to fill up the whole page. So, yeah, that's why that's there, and it's like that. So you can see applying, current, follow ups. So if you need to make a follow up, I'll show you how to do that real quick. If you go to the follow up, you can go to the timeline, and in the timeline, go ahead, click in there, and you could just set it to a new date. So say if this is like, because this is in the applied status, or this is in the interested status, then when you set the timeline, the only date that really matters that pertains to it, so you have to use some logic, just use your own, use your noggin. Um, but when you set the date, this is going to be the date that you would need to follow up. But if, for instance, you did get the job, so let's say we went to active, and now this is an active job. Um, and so you'll be able to see that. So if we wanted to just make like a view of only active jobs, so we got our jobs list right here, but let's say we want to make a jobs list and this is only active now. So that way we're only looking at things that are just relevant. What we could do is go to job status and we would filter it so that it's only active. So job is active. Save that, go like that, and then it'll only show us the active jobs. So what I would do is I'll make a little symbol for it, and that will be there by the time you get the template. That will be there. Um, and if you want to, this is like if you, I don't know, maybe you really love your job or something like that, and you want to just click on gallery, you could actually just put a picture here. So if you want to put a picture here, you can set a cover or something like that. We just set a cover, and then we will make it so that the cover is actually showing, it'll show the page cover. So you can see just like that. New job. All right. So we're going to keep going. I'm going to remove that for now. We're going to delete this since we don't need it. Another quick thing. So I did not go over this before in the past video, so it's probably good that we're going over it now. Is the edit resume. So if you edit resume, you can actually just click here and you can go in and really just plan out your resume. Which is sometimes good to have. I mean, not sometimes. Like if you're actually out here, putting in work here, or working in a fashion that requires you to submit your resume. You want to be able to have these things on hand and not think about it too much and not have to chase it around, do a million things. You got to go pull up a Canva, download a million templates, get on Pro, and like just use this. It'll be easier. So resume projects. If you say like you have some projects that you have worked on over time, so this is us. It's us. Flow State OS Lite, Flow State Beta Launch. This is just an example here, but say you had your own projects, right? This would be for you to be able to plan those out or to be able to record those for later use if you need to curate those or if you need to go back in and see certain information about them. This will be, and you can see there are also views for this too. So you can see you can flip around and cross compare between these two views. So I'm gonna leave that like that for now. And I think we've covered a good amount. You can go from here to the finance tracker, home dashboard, the business OS, and the business OS. That's heavyweight if you're really trying to take like the entrepreneurial or like the the lean business solopreneur startup type of route. Then I would say you'll probably be operating out of here maybe more often than you would be operating out of here. But just for being able to have those both worlds when you need them, they are available. And so now, those are the new additions that I have inside the Flow State OS dashboard. Just because without them, I mean, I'm hoping you can see it could be it could be a great loss. Just with us having a whole integrated system here. We want to make sure that everything is not too far out from the daily experience, but also allowing you to venture and stretch your mind and your perception of what is possible for you. So, with that said, I think that's it. I'm gonna let it be. We'll come back in the next one. Definitely appreciate all the love and support so far and everybody that has been rocking with everything that we've been putting together. So thank you, and we'll see you in the next one. All right, and real quick before we get up out of here, let me duck down. If you like this video, you're probably like, it's either gonna be off to the left or to the right. I'm not sure, but what I want you to do is to look and find it. And I hope it helps. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.